Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we're putting together a odds and ends video for you. I've got stuff stacking up again over here on the bench and trying to get it cleaned out, show you what we got. Got a combination of purchases and viewer mail and so forth like that. Some really cool things. I think you guys will enjoy this one. But before we get into the show and tell, so to say, there are a few little things I want to mention real quick. First off, I like to let folks know when there are events coming up that I'm planning on going to, because it is an opportunity for you to meet up with me and possibly other YouTubers as well. And there's a couple of events that I do want to put on your calendars for anybody that is interested in attending. First off, the annual Florida Flywheelers event, which is a big tractor / engine show that they do down near Fort Meade, Florida, kind of due east of Tampa, in the middle of the state there, kind of. It's out in the middle of nowhere, actually, in the Orange Grove country. But they've got a huge showground down there, and they do a really big show a couple of times a year. And the February show is really kind of their biggest show that they do, and the one that I usually try to go to every year. There is a huge swap meet. I'm talking, I don't know, I'm just throwing a number out here, 40 acres of a swap meet where people are got stuff, they're just bringing things in to sell. Everything under the sun, all kinds of tools, a lot of farm ag related stuff, antique stuff, even stuff that your wives would like looking at, little doodads and doohickeys. I don't know what you call them, but there's something there for everyone. They've also got a little village set up there with all kinds of things. They got a steam powered sawmill that they're usually running. My word, big, huge tractor show or parade that goes on every day. Tractor pulls going on back there in the background, back of the park there. There's literally more than you can see in a day. There's really more than you can see in several days. But it is worth going to if you're interested in those kinds of things. Now, as they have done in the past, there is going to be a little meet and greet opportunity for a bunch of YouTube creators like myself who are planning on being there. I don't have a list of who all is planning on coming. But I know that I'm planning on being there, and that is going to be on Saturday, February 24th at noon at the machine shop at the Florida Flywheelers. They have an actual machine shop set up out there, and we're going to be doing our little meet and greet out there. The dates for the entire show are February 21st through 24th. I plan on being there on the 23rd and 24th, which is a Friday and a Saturday. I would like to be there the whole week, but alas, my real job gets in the way sometimes and doesn't permit me to be able to take that much time off of work. But I am planning on being there on the 23rd and 24th. And like I said, there will be the meet and greet at the machine shop. Would love to see some of you guys. If you're planning on going to the Florida Flywheelers, please stop by and see us. If you're thinking about maybe going, this would be an excellent opportunity. People in the area, or if you're looking for a road trip, this is a really good show to go to. I highly, highly recommend it. One of the best swap meets that I've ever been to. Another event coming up, April 6th this year, 2024. This will be the annual Folklife Festival out at the Georgia Museum of Agriculture. That's the museum here in Tifton, Georgia, where I volunteer at. And this is kind of their big show that they do every year. And this is when they probably have the most things going on any given day. Lots of different activities going on out there. Really the big thing that they do on Folklife Festival is they fire and they run the turpentine still. Where they actually take the gum out of pine trees and turn it into turpentine and rosin, which is kind of an old-fashioned way of making those products. It was a really big industry down here in the South and the entire coastal plain, from really North Carolina, Virginia, all the way down to Texas in the southern areas where the longleaf pine was kind of king back in the day. But we fire that up. It's one of only 2 wood-fired turpentine stills that are still in operation in the country. And actually our person that works at our turpentine still and at the museum, he actually fires both of them. The other one's over in Portal, Georgia. But really good event there. We're going to be running the steam-powered sawmill. That's probably where I will be at most of the days, at the steam-powered sawmill, sawing logs. And I usually go over and help them when they discharge the turpentine, because they need kind of all hands on deck. They will be running the steam-powered locomotive, the train, and there'll be lots of other activities going on out there in the historic village. To be honest with you, I don't ever get to see it all because I'm always working, but I know they do sheep shearing, and I really don't know what all they do, but there's a lot of things going on. Again, April 6th, and I will be out there that day, planning to be out there that day, and I will be over at the sawmill sawing lumber. So 2 opportunities coming up in the next couple of months. If you're in the area, again, Florida Flywheelers, February 24th through, or 21st through 24th, down near Avon Park, Florida. And then the Folklife Festival at the Georgia Museum of Agriculture in Tifton, Georgia on April 6th. So the next thing I'm going to bring up, guys, and this is something that I've actually had several requests for people out there to do related to my Patreon account. And, you know, I'd always say at the end of my videos, if you want to help support the site, you can do that through Patreon. Patreon is a site where you can make a monetary contribution to a YouTube creators such as myself. Lots of different guys use that. It's a way where you, as a viewer, can kind of give something back to the guys that you enjoy watching. Not everybody participates with it, but a lot of guys do. And it is a very important thing for me as a creator to be able to have a little extra revenue coming in. You know, we do get a little bit of money from YouTube for these videos off of advertisements. It honestly is not a whole terrible lot of money. You know, the guys that are producing and getting millions of views on a video, yeah, they can get a good bit of money. But, you know, a smaller person such as myself, and I say I'm a smaller person, a lot of people would probably love to have the views that I have, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, my site is still honestly on the smallish side. You know, you get a little bit of revenue off of those ads. It's fractions of pennies per view. I think the last time I looked at it, you had to get 5 or 6 views on a video just to, or maybe even more than that, maybe about 10 views per video just to earn 1 penny. So, you know, it really takes a lot to get there, but it does add up and it does help contribute and does help keep me kind of things going in the shop. On Patreon, that's kind of something additional you can do, where you can just, if you have a person on YouTube, a creator out there that you feel like you get value out of, I would highly encourage you to kick a little bit back to them on their Patreon account, even if it's just $1 a month, because again, it adds up. You know, if you watch every video that I produce in a month, which is typically about 8 videos, I might get a penny off of you, maybe, probably not even a whole penny. So, you know, even if it's just $1 a month, it really helps. But I do have some levels on there where if you contribute at certain levels, you get a reward. And we've added a new level. Again, this is at the request of some of my viewers out there wanting me to put a different level in there. So my levels are, for $5 a month, you get one of my Vintage Machinery decals. I'll put this in the mail to you. I will note, guys, that in your Patreon account, make sure you have a physical address attached to it, because a lot of people will do this and I go and there's no address and there's no place for me to send it to them. And I try to reach out to people, but sometimes I never hear back from them. So make sure you have an address in your Patreon account on your end that stuff can be sent to you. But for $5 a month, we send the decal. For $25 a month, I send the apron, a brand spanking new apron, not one like mine that I'm wearing right now that's wore out and dirty, but a brand spanking new embroidered apron with the Vintage Machinery logo. The new level we're doing is $10 a month. And I actually just had these made up with the help of my friend Tom Utley, who makes some machinery tags. He helped me do the artwork on this, and I had a batch of these little tags made up. And I'm going to zoom you in and show you this. This is at the $10 a month level. This is a new level that we've got on there, and we'll send you one of these. So let me zoom you in and kind of show you, because I think it's kind of cool. So this is a little tag that we had made up. I say a tag, it's on aluminum. It's aluminum kind of etching on here. And it's 5 1/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches in dimensions. And we got the Vintage Machinery logo up here, and we have the decimal equivalent chart. So, you know, guys that work in inches like we do over here in the US, this is a reference. You're always, you know, when you want to go from a fractional inch to a decimal inch, you know, I've got a lot of these memorized because I use them all the time. But, you know, if someone asks me what 11/32 is, I'm going to have to go look it up on one of my charts, and you can look it up on this tag. So I got to, you know, if you want to, you can drill a hole in this and mount it on a machine or something as a reference, or you can just use it whatever you want to. But it's a little decimal equivalent chart, you know, a little small one. You could even keep it in your pocket if you wanted to. But anyway, I thought this would be kind of neat to have these made up. So I had a batch of these made up. And like I said, for $10 a month, we're going to send you one of these. And typically what I do, I'll just be honest with you. If you do an apron, I send you all three. You know, if you do the $25 a month, I'd do it all three. If you do the $10 one, you're going to get this and a decal. And then for $5 a month, you'll get a decal. So there you go. If you're interested in doing the Patreon thing, there are links in the description down below where you can go in and do that. There's also links for PayPal where you can make a direct contribution that way. And, you know, guys, if you can do it and you're willing to do it, you feel like you get something out of these, really think about that. And that's not only for myself, that's for any YouTube creator out there that you really feel like you're getting value from, because it really does make a difference and helps enable me to be able to take the time to shoot these videos, because it doubles the amount of time in the shop, and that's not even counting the production time. And I'm a one-man person. I shoot my own videos, I do my own editing, I do everything myself. There's nobody helping me do it. I don't have someone that's hired to do all this work for me. I don't have a guy running around with the camera in the shop. So it does add a lot of extra time for me to be able to do these. So if you can, great. If you can't, you're not going to hurt my feelings. You know, I'm not going to tell you need to go away or stop watching. No, we don't want that at all. And I realize not everybody can, but if you can, consider it. And it is greatly appreciated. All right, let's get in here and start looking at some of the items that we've got to show. All right, first up, we got a bunch of goodies here. This is actually some items that I recently picked up at the annual Midwest Tool Collectors Association Peach Meet that they have in Madison, Georgia every year. Usually it's that first weekend in February, and I just got back from that literally yesterday as I'm filming this. And me and a couple buddies, we rode up there, and I always enjoy going to that. It's just a bunch of guys that are selling antique tools of all kinds, and was able to find quite a few little things to add to my collection. And I thought I'd go through these real quick. So first off, down here in the bottom, there's a bunch of different rules I picked up. And I actually got from a couple of different people. I know this 18-inch rule I picked up from one person, and a couple of the little 6-inch rules I picked up from another, but everything else was all kind of in a lot. There was a guy that just had a bag full of this stuff sitting on his table, and I ended up just buying the whole bag from him. I got a little drawer over in my toolbox where I keep these little 6-inch rules, and they get used all the time, and they're literally laying all around the shop. Seems like I can never find one when I need them. So when I get the opportunity to get them, pick them up, fairly inexpensive, I like to get them because they're just handy to have. So anyway, got that collection. Picked up this set of combination square here. Made in USA. I don't see a name on it. It's not a Starrett or anything like that, but it is fairly decent quality. So I went ahead and picked up that. It was fairly cheap. This is kind of cool. This is a very high precision machinist level. The divisions on this is made in Japan, but I've actually got another level made by the same company. Very high quality stuff. The vowel on here equals one division is 0.05 millimeters per meter, and I'd have to do the math to figure out what that is in inches per foot. But I've actually got another level that's like this, and it's extremely, extremely sensitive and kind of like a Starrett Master Precision level. It was fairly inexpensive, and I just went ahead and bought it. I don't know that I needed it, but it was worth grabbing. Another level back here, this one here has, this one's made by Emerson. And it's a level that there's two level valves in here. There's one down here in the bottom for leveling this way, and you also have one on the side, so if you're leveling something like a column or something. So anyway, I thought that was kind of a neat little setup, particularly for measuring up and down. I don't have many levels to do that with. I've got a few, but that one was kind of unique, and anyway, I thought that was cool, so I picked it up. Got some machinist jacks here. I think these were just shop made, probably made by a student in a machine shop class years ago. These are pretty typical little project you would do. This is kind of neat. This is a little Starrett depth micrometer, a little small one. This is a number 446, and I've never seen one like this. Got that long stem on the top. A little on the small side, but like I said, I've never seen one like this. And anyway, I like it because it's small. It can fit down in some areas that some of my other depth micrometers can't. So anyway, I grabbed that. These are fillet tools, pattern maker's tool for putting the radiuses in on a pattern. You would go in and actually form that like wax fillets or leather fillets. You could form that with these little different balls. So they were different diameters. So I got a set of these. Again, nice little tool to have. I've got some more of these, but again, they were fairly cheap. So I just went ahead and picked them up. Got a chuck here. This is a Jacobs chuck. What is this? A number 4. Nice one. Appears to be in good shape. We'll put that to use. Got a really nice Starrett surface gauge. Use this on the surface plate with an indicator or a scribe or whatever. Got the beautiful case hardening down here on it. It's in immaculate condition. And anyway, that was, again, fairly cheap. I think I paid 20 bucks for it. I mean, that was a steal all day long. This is a panel gauge. Again, another a pattern maker's tool for scribing a line up on the edge of a panel. So it's you can set this whatever, and there's a little kind of a wheel on the end that you can scribe a line for laying out woodworking stuff. Again, this one probably would have been a pattern maker's tool. Some more pattern maker's tools back here. These are some 24-inch shrink rules. So you're not familiar with the shrink rule. When you're pouring a casting, that casting is going to shrink as it cools. And to compensate for that in the size, your pattern has to be a little bit oversized. So depending on the material that you're pouring, there's a shrink factor. For example, cast iron is usually 1/8 inch per foot, so it will shrink 1/8 of an inch per foot. This happens to be a 1/8 inch per foot shrink rule. So if you were to put 24-inch measurement up against this one, this would be 1/4 of an inch longer, because it's designed that when the metal shrinks, it's going to take that into account. So the idea here is when you're making your wooden patterns, you would use the shrink rule for whatever shrink factor you wanted, and you could measure 4 inches on this. It's a little bit larger than 4 inches, but when it shrinks down to size, it's going to go to the size, that shrink size. So we got one for 1/8 inch per foot, 1/4 inch per foot, 3/16 inch per foot, and 1/10 inch per foot. So if you look at these on the end, they're all, let me put them in order here. They're all laying down flat on the other, but they're all just a little bit longer. They're different lengths. Oh, you can't see that. Put that in the screen where you can see it, but they're all a little bit different lengths. And that takes into account shrink factor. And I also picked up a couple of little number stamp sets back here. I was missing some different sizes. I got some letter stamps I'm missing number stamps for, and vice versa. Then I found a couple of those that I could use. So anyway, just some items that we picked up at the tool meet, and we'll put these to use out here. Oh, forgot this one. This was probably kind of the prize of the whole thing, in my opinion. In fact, I'm going to zoom in and show you that one up close because it's just cool. So this is a little advertising piece that would have probably been found like in a hardware store or whatever, but it's the C.E. Jennings pyramid set, and it was a little stand for holding auger bits, so like you would put in a brace and bit. So you got the C.E. Jennings, which was an early maker of tools. This thing probably dates from the late 1800s, early 1900s. You see, just looking around here, patents applicable for. Our aim is to excel all others in quality and workmanship. And then there's a little pyramid scene on that side. And see, label registered, all tools bearing this trademark, fully warranted. So, yeah. Anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. Just a little piece that holds auger bits. I need to do a little research and see if I can find something on this pyramid set. I'm sure there was a certain auger bit sizes or whatever went in this. I just went and grabbed some auger bits that I had laying in a toolbox and put them in here. These did not come with this set, and these are not even C.E. Jennings bits, which are different than Russell Jennings bits, which are a lot more common, by the way. The C.E. Jennings are older. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty cool piece, and I just had to have it. So I like these little advertising pieces, so I picked that up. So up next are some really nice tools that I picked up from Philip August. I actually did a little bit of horse trading with him on this. He was needing some parts for a 2D mill that he had, and I had a few extra spare parts, and we worked out a little trade on some stuff. So what we've got is two things. Number one, back here in the back, this is what's called a box level. And it's made by Hilger Watts, which is an English company, made very high precision metrology equipment, instruments, made some really, really fine stuff. And basically, you could use this to check the level again on something. You could lay it flat like we got it now. You could lay it up against something up and down over here. On this side, you also have the side, but this is for going on round stock. And you can also go up underneath the bottom of something and check the level. And this level is a precision level. It reads, every line on here reads, what's that? That's a 1/2 thousandth per 10 inches. So yeah, really, really fine resolution, very, very accurate there. And you can turn this thing around and calibrate it. You can even set it if you at an angle, you can set this thing pretty much whatever angle you want to. So if you need to calibrate it at a particular angle where it would read level, you can check it out there. So really nice to have this. I have another box level. It's a little bit smaller than this one, not made by Hilger Watts, but another fine instrument in itself. But this one here is really, really sweet. You can even still see the hand scraping on the sides here where it was scraped in. Down below here, these are also kind of cool. These are some bore gauges that would have been used to check the diameter of a bore. Now, these are not really, they are adjustable, but they're not really used as micrometers, I don't believe. You would basically set this for sides and you would go check it, drop it down in a hole to actually check it to see how close it was to that size. So basically an adjustable bore gauge. These were made by the John Bath Company Incorporated out of Worcester, Massachusetts. And the really cool thing about these, I think, is that they have the scribed. All of them have kind of scribed on here. In fact, let me zoom in and kind of show you that because it's kind of neat. So it says Buick Experimental Department, Factory 78. So evidently these were where they made Buick automobiles in their experimental department, so probably where they were designing new whatevers, engines, etc., in their engineering department there. And I don't know where factory number 78 was, but a little bit of automotive history. These actually probably were used in developing new items for Buick automobiles. So kind of cool, a little bit of history to go along with them. Some really nice stuff here. A while back, I had a visitor in the shop, Louis Smith. Louis Smith came up from down the Panhandle of Florida. I was actually helping him on a little project on a little locomotive that they run down there, a little steam locomotive, little Crown engine. I think it's a 24-inch Crown. Anyway, he brought along a couple of reamers here that thought we could use to use around the shop. These were just some surplus things that he had that didn't really have a need for, that he had picked up. I think 4 of them are 1 inch, and then this one is 23/64. Got some with straight flutes, got some with spiral flutes. Anyway, I'll put these over with my other reamers. Always nice to have a good fresh reamer to go to on some of these jobs. So thanks a lot for sending those along. Next item, got some control transformers here. These were sent in by Nils Lima. Nils has actually helped me out in the shop with electrical projects on several occasions in the past, and this was some things he came across. And yeah, doing machinery restoration work, I'm constantly having to deal with electronics, and sometimes you need to step up or step down the voltage, particularly for control circuits and stuff like that. And a little transformer like this can really, really be handy. So he picked up some surplus transformers and sent me a couple. I'm going to put these in my pile of electrical stuff, and we'll have them down the road for when we need them for a machine restoration project, I'm sure. So next comes from Ray Hassett out in California, and he sent along this piece right here. And if you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't, you're probably scratching your head. But this is the 30 taper piece that fits up in my Kearney Tractor Model 2D rotary head milling machine. It's a special collet that they take. And on this end, we have a Jacobs taper for mounting a chuck on. And it just so happens that I have a Jacobs chuck here that this can mount on. So this is something that we can put over on my lathe. Now this is just a taper. I need to get this cleaned up. I want to take this chuck and do a little bit of work to it before I put it on there. But basically you would just drive that in there, and the taper would mesh between the two, and it would hold it in place, which is very typical for a drill chuck to have a Jacobs taper on it like this right here. But these are getting kind of hard to find, and he was kind enough, he had this in his stash. I guess he wasn't using it, so he was kind enough to send it along, and we can definitely put it to use over on my 2D milling machine. So Ray, thank you very much. So up next comes some miscellaneous items from Marty Hyam up in Ramsey, New Jersey. And Marty sent along, I got a manual here for a Model H milling machine, K&T. Got a level. This is interesting. It almost looks like it might be user made, like a homemade level. The bubble in it still works just fine. That's kind of cool. And then we got some fasteners up here. There's a box of what were these 1/2 inch by 1 1/4 socket cap screws. Some good old ones. You can tell those are quality. And just some miscellaneous fasteners here as well. I'll have to go through these and sort these out, put them over in my bolt bin, and get them where they need to go, so they'll get used, I'm quite sure. So Marty, thank you very much for sending along the items here. We'll definitely put them to use around here. Thank you. Next comes from Sasha Lutold up in Huntington Woods, Michigan. And what this is a really nice layout tool, custom made by Tool and Die Maker, I'm sure, for doing layout work. And basically, this is all ground flat on the bottom, and you can put this on the surface plate or whatever, or up on some blocks and scribe a line for layout work very accurately. It's got a flat on this side. This side you kind of got where you can get up into a corner, up into a 90-degree corner. Really handy tool. I've actually got a little bit different style of this in a different size that I have used from time to time, but this one here is going to definitely come in handy. And I like the fact that they've got the holes in here. That kind of lightens it up, but also gives you some areas that you can clamp to if you're wanting to clamp this thing to something else, to a fixture or something like that. So it gives you some added options there. Very nice tool. I'm sure, again, some tool and die maker somewhere along the way made this for their use. And there's just tons of this kind of stuff that has probably been thrown away because the people that made them are dying and the trades are dying. It's a sad state, but it's kind of where we're at in this country right now. But there you go. Sasha, thanks for sending that along. I will treasure it and put it into my collection, and I'm sure it'll get used. So up next comes a couple of books that were sent in to me by Noah Wilson up in Carrollton, Georgia. And it's actually the same book, but it's two different editions. So this is the 11th edition and the 23rd edition. And the 11th edition, let's see if I can find the date on it. I think it's 1937 is what someone's got penciled in there, question mark. And this one here, 1950, question mark. There's some notes here about what editions and whatever that somebody did at some point in time. But anyway, two nice little books, and we're going to probably get these scanned and put up on the Vintage Machinery website. These are put out by John Deere with John Deere equipment and tractors. So, you know, got some old vintage farm equipment here. Which is of interest to me because my work in agriculture, and I like antique tractors and antique equipment, so pretty cool stuff. My first tractor I ever drove was a John Deere 720, old 2-cylinder, back in the day, baling hay in my teenage years. There you go. Noel, thanks for sending those along. Up next, this is actually a purchase I made, but we got some new old stock made by Morse. These are tapered reamers for doing tapered pins, and some really nice ones here, some various sizes and what have you. I've got a cabinet over there where I got a bunch of these in different sizes and whatever, but it's always nice to have these around. I run into these tapered pins quite frequently, restoring old machinery, and it's nice when I need to make a new one or clean up, ream a hole to clean it up or what have you. I use these things frequently, so nice to have some new stuff here. These are mostly smaller sizes, 04, 02, 06, or 50, 50, 52, 56, size 0. So these are all, for the most part, the smaller sizes. There's a number 4 there, which is a bigger one. There's a number 5, but there's a number 1. But most of these are the small ones. Anyway, I'm going to get those put up in my cabinet, and we'll have them again for when we need them. It's hard to find the old quality American-made tooling like that when I can find new old stock stuff like that. Yeah, yes, you just get it because it's usually better than anything that's being made today, whether it's made in the US or import. Definitely better than the import stuff. There you go. Next up here comes a collection of some oilers that were sent in by John Germain up in Oregon. John's helped me out in the past finding some parts for some machinery and stuff at a machinery dealer up there. He's been kind enough to go dig through some stuff, and he said he found this collection in some of the items of a home shop of a machinist friend that had passed away, and these were in a little plastic container, and they were getting ready to throw them out, and he saved them for me and sent them to me. So anyway, these are oilers that you would put on machines, or drip oilers. You could adjust them to adjust how fast they drip. I use them in all kinds of applications. They're really nice to have around, have some when you need them. So I've got quite a few of them over in a cabinet, different sizes and whatever. I'm going to put these in there with them. And again, just one of those things, when you need them, you go looking for the one you need and pull it out, and hopefully you got it and don't have to order one. You can still get these, but much better to have the old ones that you can recycle and reuse. So anyway, John, thanks very much for sending those along, and we'll put them up and have them again for when we need them. Last item here, purchased brand new item. This is a little wall rack made by ZT Fabrication that you can put the tubes in for your TIG rods. You can put 6 different tubes in this. I've actually got some already, and I needed another one. So I went to the website and ordered them. Really nice item that they make. They make all kinds of these racks. I've actually got multiples of these in different styles and whatever that they've made for me. I've got some that hold just some like aerosol cans. I got some that hold 50 taper shafts for the arbors for my horizontal milling machine, all made by ZT Fabrication. I also made my welding cart. It was a kit that I put together. Makes some really nice stuff. So if you're in the market for something like this, check out ZT Fabrication. They did not give this to me. I purchased it, but I like their stuff. They make good stuff. I'll show you what these look like up over on the wall. My other ones I got, and this one I'm going to be painting and putting up over there to fill in some extra tubes that I don't have a place to put right now. So I've got these mounted over here, kind of in my welding area. And again, you can put these tubes in here that hold your TIG rods or whatever. I've actually got some brazing rods and stuff like that in here too. But they're really, really handy. They get them nice and organized up on the wall. I've got a place to put another one back over here behind me. And I got, what have I got? 4 more tubes. They hold 6. So, and I'm sure I'll probably get some more at some point in time. But anyway, nice to have these, and really like the stuff. ZT Fabrication. Check them out if you haven't already. Well, this is what I like to see, a nice clear workbench. And this is the area where I usually stack up my viewer mail, and it's nice and clear. I've got everything displayed, shown to you guys, and then put up where it goes in the shop. So that's always the nice part when I finish these odds and ends, is I've got kind of things cleaned up over here for a little while, but I'm sure things will start stacking up over there again very soon. Thanks for hanging in there to the end. If you made it this far, we really do appreciate it. And that is going to be a wrap. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments, always greatly appreciated. Hit that bell icon up there to get notifications when new videos are posted. And a big, huge thank you to the subscribers and supporters of the site, those who support on Patreon and PayPal. Again, we talked about the Patreon at the beginning of this. If that's something you feel like you can do, it's greatly, greatly appreciated. If not, no sweat. And with that, we're going to sign off. We'll catch you on the next video. Again, thanks for watching.